This is a dumbbell RDL or Romanian deadlift. If you've never done it, don't be intimidated by that name. I'm going to show a few reps and then we'll break it down. So this is a hip hinging movement where I'm trying to move primarily through the hips with some engagement through the shoulders and the core. So this is the movement here. So what's happening is from the top, I want to start and finish with my glutes on, standing tall, little shoulder squeeze, little engagement of the core. Sometimes I see people finish in this really overarched position where their rib tips are sticking out. And sometimes that can be uncomfortable at the top. And so I want to get the rib cage down, little brace the core, and still have some shoulder engagement without overdoing it at the low back. From there, I have soft knees, and I'm going to send my hips backwards. My weight's going to shift to my heels, and I'm going to draw these dumbbells backwards so my hands are roughly even or slightly behind my shins the whole time as I go up and down. That keeps the weight centered kind of around my heels, through my skeleton, rather than out here. Now the pressure is a lot through the lower back. So this gets a little bit better of a leg drive, leg muscle engagement as we draw these weights back. We also get a little better shoulder engagement. Then the hip hinge component, we have a ton of videos on hip hinging, but what we want to do, a Romanian deadlift, is a hip dominant or the hip centric part of a deadlift, meaning we're not using the knees or the quads, we're just moving through the hip. So we're going to send the hips back until we feel like the hips don't go any further, because the joint will end at some point. And so in folks who kind of don't have super mobile hamstrings, so most people, you're going to feel a hamstring stretch that should be roughly equal and comfortable. I feel that here, if I go further, that's my low back or my knees. Neither are inherently bad, but in this exercise, we're isolating this hip component, and so I want to know where the hip range of motion ends. For me, it's there. If you have really mobile hamstrings, you might not feel a stretch. So some people don't feel a stretch here, they just keep on going and they never feel a stretch. So if that's you, we have to pay a little closer attention to what's moving, and you'll want to feel when this area starts to move. So sometimes you can actually tuck your shirt in, and if you start to feel that shirt kind of moving up against you, that's a good sign that your low back is starting to move. And then to come up, I want to push with my legs. So what I mean by that is I'm pushing down into the ground and forward with my butt. So I like to keep down, so pushing down, because the back pulls up. You probably heard the old adage, lift with your legs, not with your back. We can debate that, but the back cannot push down. The back muscles are here and they pull us up. The legs push down. And so typically if we think I'm in a good position here and I push down, that gets a good glute drive. Another way to think about it is my torso is at an angle. I want to push it upwards from the bottom rather than pull it upwards from the top. So this is a dumbbell RDL. It can be a really nice movement. For a lot of folks, it's a good introduction to deadlifting, but it's also a good advanced movement because this position, drawing back of the dumbbells, can really fry the hamstrings and get some pretty good work done. Why it's called a Romanian deadlift, I'm sure there's some history. I'm not sure. We shorten it to RDL. I don't like calling it a straight leg deadlift because it's not. My legs aren't straight. My knees aren't going forward. My femur is just tipping backwards. And so we should have a soft bend in the knees, but my shins are pretty vertical. They're not angled forward. So we want a vertical shin as we go up and down. So that can be a check mark. Is this straight up and down? If it's angled forward, we're going to be in a little more of a squat position, which is just a different exercise for a different purpose. So don't be too intimidated by the term. RDL stands for Romanian deadlift, but all that means is that we're isolating this hip component. We should finish feeling a lot of work back of the legs, not too much in the low back, maybe a little fatigue, but no pain, and you should feel more work coming from the legs than the low back. If you feel tightness or a lot of effort in the low back, It often means as you come up, you really start to arch the low back as you come up and finishing here. That's not where I want to be. I want to let this relax, engage, coming down without overarching. So give it a shot. Let me know what you think.